Hello, welcome to CHTV. I'm here this week in Grecians West with Finn McMahon in his bedroom. So Finn, you're coming up to the last part of your career at CH. Tell me a little bit about next year and what you're hoping to do.
Well, I've got an offer to go and read history at Oxford, history and politics at Oxford, about which I'm obviously very excited, but it raises issues in terms of having to get the grades. So that's making this term, just that bit more intense, which is difficult because not only me, but I think an awful lot of people are really in two minds about leaving. I mean, on the one hand, everybody's going on to do hopefully more exciting and better things next year, but there is an enormous element of nostalgia. So sort of moving on from being at CH to next year is going to be a difficult transition. But I'm cautiously optimistic, I think, about the future. There's going to be lots to do, and it's my intention at least to throw myself into everything.
So with these grades that you have to get, are you finding it difficult to find time for your academics?
I think the school makes enough provision for academic stuff to be fairly straightforward, but I'm honest about the fact that one of my weaknesses is getting distracted. I suppose CHTV is an exemplification of that. I mean, there's an awful lot to do at school. I'm heavily involved with the debating society. I have been for about 3 years, so that's something I'm having to do less. I've stopped doing things like the school's MUN, which I've been doing for the last couple of terms. Beyond that, there's a school newspaper which happens every week, probably. So I mean, that's an hour a week, really. So I mean, that's something I'm staying involved with. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously going to be an issue in terms of balancing academics with social and recreational stuff. But I think I've just about got it right.
And as a Grecian in your final year, you're obviously looking forward to the leaving service in the next 8 or 9 weeks. How are you feeling about leaving CH?
Well, I wouldn't say looking forward to the leaving service. It's going to be no doubt very emotional. But yeah, as I said, there's an enormous element of nostalgia to it. I mean, we've been here now for getting on for 7 years, which feels, as I say, that's slightly ridiculous. So I mean, there's so many memories, good and bad, sort of wrapped up with that it's going to be extraordinarily difficult to leave. I mean, I sort of have these ideas that I'm going to leave and find it difficult to cope with the outside world because we've been so insulated and so acclimatised to the rigmarole of CH. It's almost as though we're the kind of people that leave prison after 40 years and have been completely institutionalised. Not for the record that I want to compare life at CH to a prison. That's not the right thing to do, and it isn't. Just to clarify, but it is going to be difficult, absolutely.
And as an avid follower of politics, especially the Labour Party, how did you feel about the most recent Labour elections?
It was fantastic news. I mean, on the one hand, Labour gained around about 800 councillors, around about 30 councils, so our best results in local elections since the mid-90s, which is really, really good news. But the other side of the coin is that turnout was at 35%, which, I mean, just in terms of the democratic value of what happens, it's a real worry that people can't motivate themselves in those kind of numbers to vote. So I think that's something that all politicians really should take some responsibility for. I was involved in the Ken Livingstone for Mayor campaign over the holidays to some degree, and I mean, there were an awful lot of people there, and an awful lot of people that I sort of met on the doorsteps. But what does it matter? And obviously, the mayoral election was the one pocket of bad news for the Labour Party that night. And actually, I mean, in terms of the value of democracy, it was quite disappointing, I think, in the mayoral campaign to see an issue. It's a risk I accept with mayoral elections in general, but the fact that it was fought so heavily on personalities and so lightly on issues, and it just gave licence to newspapers in London who had a vendetta against Ken Livingstone to start with to print, stories that border on the slanderous. So I think our democracy is the worst for that. But I think for the most part, really good news. And obviously in France as well, a couple of days ago they elected their first socialist president for 17 years. The last socialist president, Mitterrand, left 17 years ago. So that was really good news. That's exciting. Just in terms of provoking a discussion in Europe about the direction that things are going on, whether or not you agree with Hollande, the fact that this kind of Franco-German consensus on austerity might be broken is fantastic news. So I know I went on a bit, but I'm excited about the elections that have been going on the last few weeks.
It's good news for you.
Yeah.
And with your such close following politics, have you got a interest to go into politics in the future, to be an MP, perhaps?
I would like at some point to serve in some way. I think that it's a worry if anybody sets out at this age and says, well, yes, I want to seek elected office. I think those are probably the wrong kind of people, to put in government. So I would like to do something, I'm loath to say meaningful, but I suppose, that's the best word I can find. I'd like to do something of more meaning, of more purpose before, even beginning to think about that. But I'm active in the Labour Party. I think, it's something that would be marvellous at some stage. But, in the immediacy, I'm not thinking about that kind of thing.
Thank you very much, Finn, for that.
Thank you, Bob.
It was a pleasure interviewing you.
Likewise.
Hopefully now the viewers will have a better point of view on our resident interviewer. Thank you for watching.